Hello, it's a beautiful day going on, and I'm going to see if I can remember how to tell a story. Does that sound like fun? Well, it was about 30 years ago, and I had this car that didn't work very well. Well, it drove okay, but the part that didn't work very well was part of the heater situation. I'll tell you what, I came out to drive my car one day, and there's water all over the floorboard. And yeah, that's something weird. Did somebody spill their glass of water or something? Nope. This was rusty water, and it smelled like antifreeze. And sure enough, there's part of a car that has a tubing going in and out of this little piece. It's about this big, and it's the heater core, they call it. So it's got water running through it, and if it has a leak, boy, big problem. And I'll tell you exactly why. In order to fix that, you got to take apart the entire dashboard, all of those bolts and everything. I don't even know how they figure out how to pull that thing apart. I heard about this fellow. He said he had an uncle that was a car mechanic. And what he said is, boy, if you have a car that the heater core goes out of, sell the car. I'm not going to work on that. Well, I didn't have that choice at the time. At least I didn't think I did. So I drove that car about 3 full years. And I got to tell you, not only did that car have a leak in that heater core, and I'll tell you what I did. I took the pipe, the tubing, went in and out of it. I just bent it in two and joined it up to the external loop. So I what they call bypassed that, so it didn't have any water running through it. But the downside was I didn't have a heater then. Summer, winter, anytime it got cold, no heater. Tell you what that does. Well, not only did that have a heater core problem, but it had a crack in the back window of this car. Not a very good car, I got to tell you. Rain would rain, and it'd leak through there, and I'd have water in the back of the car too, and the floorboard. And I don't know if you know what lichen is, but I had a crop growing in this car. Really annoying. And summertime, stuff growing, and the wintertime, it would freeze like a block of ice on the floorboard of this car. No heater in there. So I'd climb in this car with my big parka on and my gloves, and I had a credit card, but the only thing that thing was good for was to scrape the windshield on the inside of that car as I was driving, just shivering along, sitting on that block of ice all the way to work. I happened to work at a place that I was taking care of a patient. And the family there was concerned that germs would grow if it got too warm. Well, they took care of that, I got to tell you, because they had the air conditioner blasting all summer, and they had the heat off in the wintertime. So I got to tell you, during those 3 years driving that car, it'd take me 3 days out in the hot sun just to thaw out. I was cold all the time. I got so tired of that I took a crowbar one day. I was trying with screwdrivers and stuff to pull that housing apart to get to the piece that I needed to fix. No luck. I got so sick of being cold, I took a crowbar, started jamming it in there and prying it, trying with all my strength to break that apart so I could fix my heater. No luck. So I had this really crummy car. The dashboard all ripped up. In the wintertime, I'd have my lunchbox with just frost on it, and a couple other items there. Well, I was coming down a hill kind of fast, and because I would tell you what, when I was sitting there in my car, the heat of my body in the wintertime would start thawing out a bit of that ice, and so it would turn into this fog bank, cold air. And not only that, but if I stopped, that fog bank would surge forward, freeze onto the front onto the windshield, and I'd have to, at the stop sign, scrape off that ice before I could go again. So I was trying to avoid that frost on my windshield, so I got to the bottom of a hill, checked both ways really fast, nobody coming, so I just kind of eased on out, turned the corner, turned to the right without complete stop, and right behind me, lights going, stop, pulled over. So I'm sitting there going, oh boy. Officer comes up, taps on my window. I roll it down. I said, hello, can I help you? And he said, well, I noticed that there was a challenge. Do you have any idea why I pulled you over? I said, no idea. And he says, well, you didn't come to a complete stop there, and also one of your tail lights is out. And I said, oh my, that's really rough. And I was actually glad he didn't tell me about the bald tires I had too. So anyway, he says, can I see your license and insurance? So I'm looking through the bunch of stuff that I had stacked on my seat there, and my dashboard had been all torn apart. So I'm looking through my stuff, and I handed my driver's license. I said, I can't find my other stuff here, but I got to tell you, my wife drives the good car. And there's something that I talk about this. This is what I think about. When somebody has a thought that's a little bit heavier than they're used to for a while, I call it the head tilt, because they go like this when there's a new thought that they hadn't really considered before. And this officer, he did this head tilt. And then he tells me, he says, you know something? My wife drives the good car too. Why don't you go home? And I said, you know what? I would like that very much. Thank you so much. Thank you, sir. And so he handed me my information, and I went on home. So during this time, I got to tell you, something else happened. I went to church. I was driving my crummy car, got to church, and I got out of the car, was going into the church, and a lady, I saw her walking along, an older lady, and she looked pretty sad. I said, well, what's going on? She goes, oh, my car, it's having problems, and it just rips me up. You know, I'm so distraught about this. I said, well, after church, let's go take a look at it. I'll see if I can do something about it. So all during the church time, I'm thinking about, man, what's possibly going on with this lady's car? I'm thinking about trying to review all the ideas I have, how to fix a motor, how to work on electricity, all of these things. So anyway, church is done. I make a beeline to make sure that I can meet up with this lady. And so I go to her. I say, yeah, I'd like to take a look at your car now. She says, yeah, I'd really appreciate that. So we're walking out there, and I'm going, man, how do we console this lady if there's something that I can't fix on her car? And so we get out there, and she undoes her key, and I'm standing there at the hood waiting for her to pop the hood and show me how bad the motor is. And no, she doesn't open the hood. She unlocks it, and then she walks around to the passenger side in the back, and she says, come here. I said, okay. And she opens the door. I said, what's the challenge? She closes it again. She opens it again. I said, do you hear that? I said, no. Closes it, opens it again. Well, what is that? She goes, it's squeaking. I got a squeak in my door, and it's just ripping me. You know, it's just really, really frustrating for me. And I got to tell you, I wanted to lay down on the ground and just howl with laughter, because here I am driving this real crummy car, and this lady, pretty nice car, she's devastated because it's got a squeak in it. And I was thinking about that. I was going, you know, there, no matter how tough we have it, we can look just a little bit, and sometimes we can see people that have a rougher time. Even my crummy car, there are people that would love, love, love to have had my crummy car, you know. And that's the way this works. When we get to heaven, we have double blessing, and I'll tell you what it is. We can enjoy what we have, and we also can enjoy what we don't have to put up with anymore. And that's the story for the day. I hope you have a good time. Have a good day. Hope to see you soon.